And welcome back to Wheels fans. We're talking the MotoGP from the United States Grand Prix coming into this weekend just after the slightly controversial, the track is going to fall apart, what's going to happen? Really, there's a sinkhole Brazilian Grand Prix. Hopefully that's not going to happen at the Circuit of the Americas, a very well-established circuit now in MotoGP, one that a certain Marc Marquez really likes. But will he get his revenge? He hasn't yet won an actual race. Well, yes, I know he's won a sprint, but he's going to have to beat this guy. Simply the Bez at the moment. Over the last 4 Grand Prix, he's led pretty much, well, not pretty much, he has led every lap. 25 out of 25, 27 out of 27, 26 out of 26, 23 out of 23. Absolute dominance. And it begs the question, was Marc Marquez even that dominant? As we know, he's not always been, Marquez, the best on starts. But what I would like to say is, if there's one place, if there's one track that could possibly upend the Bez and help Marquez, it's going to be this. We know how good he is. Just don't mention last year. We'll have a look at that in a bit. That was interesting, wasn't it? So, but let me get involved now for other things, because we have a bike livery revealed. VR46. Check this out. There we go. It looks nice, doesn't it? Here's a few pictures of it as well. I mean, look at that. That is that has to be, without doubt, the most colourful bike I've ever seen. It just looks absolutely crazy. It's like someone took a few things they shouldn't, went to bed, had a lucid dream, woke up and thought, yes, this will be the livery for the United States Grand Prix. And I tell you what, you'll be able to see that for a mile off. I think it looks mega. Some people think it just looks like someone just threw a load of colour at it. I like it though. It does look. I think it genuinely looks quite nice. But moving on from that, so this is how the current championship looks going into the American Grand Prix, or the United States Grand Prix. Sorry, as we have Mr. Bezzecchi, as in Marco Bezzecchi, on a full 56 points with those 2 race wins. Jorge Martin is second. Both of them Aprilia Racing. A lot of questions. Will Aprilia dominate the MotoGP season? I still think this is only the 3rd race in. It's a bit too early to say. Pedro Acosta, the former championship leader, now just on 42 points. He didn't do particularly well, did he, in Brazil? No, he didn't. And so, moving on, we've got the schedule. So here it is. Tomorrow, if you want 4:30 to 5 o'clock, we've got the gear up. I think on the. But the other thing that you might be wanting to know is at 5 to 5:45. This will be local time to the UK. Is going to be the press conference. Now, if you want at track time, it's 11:30 to 12. The first bit starts. But the most interesting day is going to be obviously the Sunday, but it's getting to practice. So for your MotoGP fans, it's 10:45 local track time. But if we revert to the UK time, we are looking at MotoGP about 3:45 to half past 4. That's going to be the first free practice NO1, and then 8 till 9 o'clock as well. In the evening, well into your Friday evening. So hey, the good thing is you finish work in Europe or the UK. Europe, I think just plus 1 hour from most places. You're going to watch the MotoGP, aren't you? On the 28th of March, we've got qualifying. So that's going to be basically 10 to 3 starting for the MotoGP, and the qualifying ends at half past 4. And then we have the Tissot Sprint, 10 laps at 8 o'clock lights out UK time. Local track time for you United States people in Texas, obviously, is going to be 3 o'clock. Now the important day. Not that the sprint isn't important, of course, but we've got the MotoGP. This will be our time in the UK. It's going to be 20. They say the warm up 4:40 to 16:50. That's essentially 20 to 5. And then you got the driver parade. And then we've got at 9 o'clock. So there you go. After your dinner, or you could plan your dinner, pizza rolls, etc. at 9 o'clock for the actual MotoGP race. So the Circuit of the Americas. The actual laps, it's going to be 19 laps for MotoGP. Moto 2 is going to be 16. Moto 3 is going to be 14. Moving on from that though, let's then have a look finally at the track guide. So it's got quite a few turns, as you can see here. It says right corners 9, left corners 11. Total length is 5.51 kilometers, or if you're old school like me, it's 3.43 miles. So quite a long track. Bearing in mind we only have the 19 laps. 15 meters is the total width. The longest straight is 1.2 kilometers, or 3,937.01 feet. But I'll digress. Here's something I sort of prepared earlier. Yes, it is absolutely our track guide, as this is going to be the start and finish straight. What's always interesting, it's going to be quite a long run to the start. If I'm honest, which is going to be quite interesting. So let me continue playing that as we brake. It's one of the hardest braking zones of the year at that really tight corner. You're going to have them really punch up, and that is essentially turn numero uno going into turn 2, and then we've got 3, 4, 5. If you are ever fans of Silverstone, you're going to recognise these corners. It's very much like Maggots, Becketts, and Chapel. Sorry, Maggots, Becketts, and Chapel. As you're going to wind your way through 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ultimately 6, where then you're going to get a slight dip into 7, and you've got to be really calm on the throttle here, and into 8, and then you want to set yourself up for essentially what's going to be turn 9 and 10 into 11. Now 11 is going to be a place, other than the first corner, where you can probably pass if you can get that break, if you're alongside it, unless obviously you're trying to pass Marc Marquez, who we know, as we go really wide, is very good on the brakes. Now into the longest straight of the track. As I said, it's over a kilometre long, isn't it? Which means the braking zone is going to be long, which means people are going to be bunching up, people are going to be braking. As you can see, we braked so late into, once again, a very pretty much hairpin like. This track now is very much in 3 parts, and the third part being the Mickey Mouse tight corner. It's just, ignore that bit. It's just really strange. This is now full of tight corners right until the very end. This is a very technical part of the track, and all of these and sectors, the last two-thirds of the track are going to be tight corners. Particularly this, very much reminiscent of Turkey in turn 8 in Istanbul, being the now we're coming up to the penultimate corner, where it's so easy to go wide here. So we're going to have to watch that in qualifying. And then the final corner, where again it's going to be really important, because you're going to want to set yourself up either for defense or attack, because this is the second longest straight of the track, and people are going to be lining up to do the slipstream on you, aren't they? But there we go. So most wins here, as I told you, Marc Marquez with 7 in total, Bagnio with 1, and Alex Rins, that's the guy who we were riding with 2. Most poles, 8 for Marquez, 2 for Bagnio, 1 for Jorge Martin. The all-time lap record was 2024, because 2025 was, I think, a bit wet. A 2 minutes 0.864, which completely ruined my time on that Moto GP game. But there we go. That's not what we're really here. That's not what we're here for. So, what I'd like to say though is, remember this. I think this was in, what was it, 2024? The rodeo has delivered moments that broke the internet. Take a look at this. I think this was in 2024. Let's have a look, shall we? To the Moto 3 race. So essentially, they have a whoopsie, and then the guy gets on the wrong. He just runs away from his bike. He is, because the other guy's getting on his bike, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's not often we see Grand Theft Auto, essentially, at the Circuit of the Americas, but that was absolutely hilarious. Now he's like, no, get off, I want to go. It was absolute chaos. But there we go. That was the clip from the Moto 3s, but this is the clip. The man that had it all. The man that had the race in the bag last year. And then this happened. I mean, yeah. Oh, it just looks so amateurish. And yep, that is Marc Marquez doing arguably the longest slide of the day. This is him again. He just completely lost it. He just lost it. He was, it was, to be fair, difficult conditions on the track, but as you can see, there we go. I'm assuming he had a nice trip. And last year, Forza Ducati, because it was Pecco Bagnaia, yes, the good Pecco Bagnaia, because goodness me, where has Pecco Bagnaia absolutely gone? That is, I think, one of the biggest question marks going into the American Grand Prix weekend, or the United States Grand Prix weekend. This was last year where he won. Can he cook up another masterpiece this week? It's going to take something, isn't it? But I do think the pressure is on. And this story here I thought was quite interesting. About Daniele Petrucci does not like that Francesco Bagnaia seems sidelined by Ducati. Bagnaia doesn't understand why he struggles on Ducati's 2026 bike. I mean, this was meant to be the season, this potential legend returned, and he's just looked normal. So Bagnaia, it says, does not understand why he struggles on in the races on Ducati's GP26 bike. He felt comfortable in practice in Brazil. Yeah, let's be honest, when we both looked at the sprint race and the actual Grand Prix, he had absolutely no pace. And Ducati have even suggested that they might not be able to help Bagnaia. It may be just up to him. I mean, if Marquez can do it, why can't he? Now, former Ducati Moto GP racer Petrucci, I probably got the pronunciation wrong, apologies, but he finds Bagnaia's situation very sad, he says, as it seems to him that they've already given up on him, which is weird. He said, let's just say that from the outside, it seems like Bagnaia isn't even a topic anymore. It's making me sad. And that honestly makes me sad. I don't know if they've already gone their separate race, but having led Ducati to world championships and races and now being sidelined a bit doesn't really make me happy. I don't know what's behind it, but last year they were at least trying to figure out what to do to solve the problems. This year it seems to me that it's not even a topic of discussion anymore. He said they've probably already made different choices. I don't know. Bagnaia is out of contract at Ducati after the 2026 Moto GP season and is widely thought to be heading to Aprilia. But a lot of people are now saying, wait a minute, are Aprilia going to be questioning that decision? Now, KTM rival Pedro Acosta is expected to take over his ride. Okay. I mean, that's definitely something that I thought a lot of us can get behind. Now, Ducati saw Bagnaia finishing 5th in the 2025 standings as the last straw, apparently. No moves have been finalised amid the reports that Bagnaia will sign what is a 4-year deal to join Aprilia. But is Aprilia going to be having second thoughts? Ducati signing Acosta on a 2-year contract from 2027, but Bagnaia's expected departure has set up an awkward farewell tour for this year. I mean, will it be the awkward Ducati farewell tour? The GP26, it says, is already capable of more than Bagnaia managed across Thailand and Brazil. Ducati teammate Marquez finished P2 in the sprint, was in the Thailand GP podium fight before his puncture, and also won the sprint race in Brazil. Also, VR46 rider Fabio Di Guanantonio, fought Marquez for the victory in the sprint and then won the Brazilian GP aboard the same Ducati GP26 as the Spaniard and Bagnaia. So there is a lot of pressure, isn't there? There really is. And I mean, even Bagnaia is pointed, saying he's struggling. When you look at the onboard, especially compared to Marquez, but he's not sure why his issues only appear to develop during the races. I mean, it could be a fact that when it's full of gas, maybe. The 29-year-old, as we know, he has endured what is a very difficult start to the season. Even his team manager can see they've not given up yet. Yet some other sources have suggested they have, and it must be really frustrating for the poor guy. I mean, what has he got to do? He crashed during qualifying for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Remember that, which put the two-time champion on the back foot, having to start both races from P11. And he fell early in Q2 and failed to post a fast lap time despite returning to the track later on. To be fair to him, when he did return to the track in Brazil qualifying, it was raining. Now, the last straw, I think, for a lot of people, and even for us, we put him in the negatives when we were reviewing the Brazilian Grand Prix, crashing out of that Grand Prix. It says here, and I completely agree, left Bagnaia with more questions than answers as well. As he had felt comfortable on board the Ducati GP26 during practice, even in the morning warm-up on Sunday. Now he is eager to know why he struggles so much in the races. This is quotes from the race. He said, from the start of the season, testing and here, apart from the races, I was always having a good feeling. I need to understand more and I need to improve myself. He said, FP2, I was in the front group. This morning, I was in the front. Yes, he did make that mistake in qualifying, but even he acknowledges there that the pace was good on his Ducati. Strange then, in the race, I was struggling like this yesterday. Like this today, I just need to improve. But why is he struggling on race pace? Is it something to do with the tyres? Is it something to do with the... I mean, I know a bike can feel different when it has a full fuel tank as opposed to in quali. And I don't know how much fuel they even use in practice, for example. But it is really, really strange. Anyway, yeah, I mean, that's, for me, that's one of the big stories coming into the 2026 United States Grand Prix. But let's get our predictions in order, shall we? So, who do we think is going to win? Who has to do better? So, I'd like to talk about first the people I think are under a bit of pressure, and the first one is going to be completely blank because these things. Oh God, these things are really bad. Technical issue alert! 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 Okay, let me see. Let's try and sort these technical issues out, shall we? So they're going up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Okay. Fingers crossed. Is Alex Marquez now going to suddenly appear? Yes, he does. Technical issue over. Live to tape. Okay. So the reason why I think Alex Marquez is having... I mean, if you remember last year, I remember there was a period when all I saw was fights for the win between Alex Marquez and Marc Marquez, and that, I don't know what's happened. Something has happened. I know maybe like Marc Marquez, he's not maybe 100%, but still, yeah, I'd like to see more from Alex Marquez. He's been really disappointing, as this guy. So I was very excited coming into the Brazil Grand Prix. To be fair, maybe we were thinking far too much for Pedro Acosta, who himself said he's leading the championship. Don't get too excited. We did, and he became semi-average Acosta because he, to the point where I thought it was frustrating, wasn't it? He didn't even in the sprint and in the race. Bear in mind how fast I thought he was going to be. He didn't really go forward, did he? Next up, let's be honest, this is the obvious one, isn't it? Mr. Francesco Bagnaia. Yeah, he needs to do something. I do see a world where if he doesn't improve, and improve soon, when I say soon, the first third of the season, I think Aprilia are going to get cold feet. And yes, contracts are only worth the paper they're printed on. So if this guy doesn't do well at the American Grand Prix, it's just going to... I'm concerned that the Bagnaia bombshell is just going to spiral out of control to the point where all the other teams are like, no, we're not going to sign you. I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry. I've got to pick one of my favourites, Jack Miller, your 200th Grand Prix. And yeah, and to be fair, in the first practice session, I think in Brazil, he was up there. He's got the pace. It's just I don't know. I feel does he make too many mistakes? Do you think? I think maybe he does, which is really frustrating as a Jack Miller fan, because we know how brave and balls out this guy really is. But I'd like to see more going into the American Grand Prix. Fabio de Guananan. They say it on the commentary so fast. Let's just call him Fabio, so I don't absolutely crucify his name. Now, these are the positives. And these are the 4 people I think can potentially fight for the win. We saw he had pole position, he had a lot of pace, and he fought with Marc Marquez. Now, yeah, I know you might want to... I mean, he was only a few laps away from winning his first ever sprint. Now, granted, the fight between him and Marc Marquez, Marquez said it was, arguably, it was the track, the crumbling away that helped him make the mistake. But ultimately, Fabio had the same piece of track as Marc Marquez, and he didn't make the mistake, unlike the sprint. And he fully deserved the podium. So I'm really excited to see what he can do. And this guy here, Jorge Martin, I want him. He is in the Aprilia. We know how good that Aprilia is. I want Jorge Martin to be fighting for the lead. I want him fighting at the top. Can he do it? He had, I think at times, when you looked at the race, once he got into second, I kind of felt when it came to it, he had the potential for better pace than Bezzecchi in the race. But I think by the time he got through, their pace was still so close to each other that he sadly wasn't going to make a difference. And it's qualifying where he's going to have to sort it and the start, and nail that start of the race. Absolutely, he will. So next up, this is, now, I've put this guy on, for me, I've put this guy as second favourite to win the United States Grand Prix. There obviously is a reason. As we know, Mr. Bezecchi has been absolutely dominating the last 4 races. I mean, he's led every lap. But, and here's the part, we're in the United States, where, let's be fair, he stacked it last year, but had he not stacked it, he would have won. Yeah, it is our favourite, Marc Marquez, simply because we know how good he is at the United States Grand, at the United States Grand Prix, at the circuit of the Americas. He's, now very, very experienced, very, very talented. And when you look at the track, the first part, essentially, if we nail it down into 3 parts, you got the first part, which is quite high speed, big turns, and even the second third is once again big turns, high speed. And then we get into that last part, the really Mickey Mouse bit, the really tight corners, until the last couple, and it is really, really technical. And I think tyres may well be an issue when we come down here. And this guy, Marc Marquez, has got it all. I think very much Marc Marquez is going to be the man to beat, without a shadow of a doubt. He's very much going to be the man to beat. So I'm going to leave you with the Race Freak and Ducati, because I do think Marc Marquez is there. What do you think? Comment below, let us know. Until then, thank you very much. Speak to you soon. Lean in, hang on.